I tell you what, Dan Ashworth, he must be on about getting help trimming his bushes, because there's no way Eddie Howe's going to leave the real United, Newcastle United, to go to Old Trafford and take over at Manchester United. Yes, people, welcome back to the Magpie Channel TV. And before we get into today's video, we have a very new, exciting sponsor. Right then, everyone, I am absolutely delighted to announce our brand new sponsor, Omili. Omili is a new game-changing app. I'm telling you, this is going to revolutionise the way you watch videos and interact, most importantly, how us content creators get involved with you lot and create shows. So we're going to be doing designated videos and shows on the Omili app, so make sure you download it with the link in the description. It's free to join, obviously. You can get involved, and more importantly, you really can feel a part of the show, because in this one, you can voice your opinions quite literally. It's no more just, chatting on the screen or putting in comments. Your voice can be heard through Omili. It is revolutionary in this space. So it means you can actively get yourselves involved in all the latest and best football conversations. You yourself can host shows and connect with other like-minded, passionate football fans. So there we have it. My first Omili live show will be Thursday, 12 PM. So Thursday, midday tomorrow, with Ryan from Talking Seagulls ahead of the big game on Saturday against Brighton and Hove Albion. Me and Ryan will be running through that match preview, talking about the likes of Yankuba Minter, I'm sure, and much, much more as the Premier League returns to action this weekend. And we'll be doing this for the next few weeks on Omili, so make sure you download the app. We've got some great big guests coming. Arsenal Fan TV in a couple of weeks' time. Robbie Lyle and Cecil will be on the show before the big game on the 2nd of November. We've also got Chelsea before that. We'll be having Matisse on the show, so there's plenty of great content coming your way, and Omili is the place to be for it, especially for you to really feel a part of the action. Right then, I had to make a video on this one, didn't I? It's a couple of days ago. It's actually got freshened up, the article, by many news outlets today, because obviously Thomas Tuchel has been announced as the England manager, which has then resulted in Manchester United fans sweating on their future appointment, because Tuchel was the clear favourite, the obvious candidate to replace Erik ten Hag, who somehow is still in a job at Old Trafford. He's still clinging on to the waterfall at Old Trafford. He's just trying to float above it, armbands, swimming, getting drowned, rising back up. Oh my days, he's somehow surviving the waterfalls at Old Trafford, but for how long? Well, I don't care about them that much, because, Tuchel's now at England. I think it's a great appointment. We'll get into that in a minute. But what Man United fans, journalists, reports are saying now, we're going to have to get Eddie Howe. We have to get Eddie Howe. He's the next best thing. Graham Potter and Eddie Howe are the two favourites head-to-head to take over at Man United. And I seen an article the other day saying that Dan Ashworth is targeting Eddie Howe from Tyneside to Manchester. Never gonna happen. As I said in the intro, he must want help trimming his bushes. The hedges must be getting long for Daniel's garden, because there's no way he's going to help him on the pitch. Not on that grass. He's not going to help him on the footballing side of things. Mate, he wouldn't even do Dan a favour, would he really? Left him in the lurch. But I'm joking saying that the only chance he's got of recruiting Eddie is to help him with his garden, because he's not going to help him with his football team. Why the hell would Eddie Howe leave Newcastle United for Manchester United? That is a cesspit. That is a mess. Even Sir Alex Ferguson is getting sacked there. Nobody's safe, apart from Ten Hag somehow. But that club is honestly a shambles. They're all over the place. The signings aren't working. They spent loads of money on players' wages, and they are still crumbling away. Absolutely crumbling, just like the stadium. The bottom half of the Premier League, man. They are terrible. And Eddie Howe's building a great side here at Newcastle United. He's loved by the fans. He's got a solid job there. And there's no way he would swap that for me. No way he would swap Newcastle for Man United. I know Man United, one of the biggest clubs in the world, one of the best supporter clubs in the world. But the media and the fans and Gary Neville and the ex-players need to get their head around it isn't the same anymore. It's not the same Manchester United we're talking about here. It's not. They are not Man United of the 90s anymore. This isn't the treble-winning side. That's on the other half of Manchester now. This is not a good side. This is not a well-run club. Even with Ineos coming in, all the Man United fans buzzing, oh, this is a change, we're back. Back where? Back 14 from the table, mate. Yeah? Stinking the place out. Can I get a win in Europe? Awful. Johnny Evans is the best player. He's 50 next week. Do you know what I mean? They're a mess. There's no way. I can't, nah. I think it's laughable that Dan Ashworth and Jim Ratcliffe would even consider approaching Newcastle for Eddie Howe. Now, apparently, like I said, the fresh reports today is that they're worried about the compensation package it would cost to get Howe. Now, they've just spent months doing that with Dan Ashworth, having to pay up for Dan Ashworth to leave his garden duties, garden and leave, to finally go to Manchester. That took ages, that took millions. And the thing with Eddie Howe is, unlike a lot of other managers, his contract doesn't actually include a minimal release clause. So they would have to agree a fee with the Toon Army. So that's not going to happen. Because we would just say, well, you want Eddie Howe, 40 million. And even then we wouldn't accept it, wouldn't want it, don't need it. Well, FFP and that. But you know what I mean? Priceless. Eddie Howe is priceless. So there would be no agreeing on fee. I don't think we would want to deal with Jimmy and the rest of the Man U boys anyways, after the kerfuffle and mess that it was with Dan Ashworth. You know, we're not seeing eye to eye, we're not getting along there. So the fact that he thinks he can come in and just swoosh Eddie Howe after we've had this project, like they did with Ashworth, I guess. But with Eddie Howe, he's not a little snake, a little rat like Ashworth, is he? You know, he's committed to the cause here at the Magpies. And I genuinely believe he wouldn't leave for Man United. I really don't. So I think that one's a no-go. I could see Potter, maybe even Southgate, that'd be brilliant, getting the job at Man United. I'd be all for that, that would be hilarious. But he's not getting Eddie Howe. Ashworth isn't bringing Eddie Howe. You know, Ratcliffe isn't getting Eddie Howe. Not a chance he leaves Newcastle United. The only chance there was of Eddie Howe leaving for me would have been for the national team, for the England job. And as Shearer has said in the Rest of Football podcast, he is bemused that nobody came in for him. He says he's shocked, according to his sources, that nobody from the FA even reached out to Eddie Howe. Now, that's according to Shearer, which I find hard to believe considering in Thomas Tuchel's press conference earlier, the head of FA said that they approached 10 different managers before appointing Tuchel. And if Eddie Howe wasn't amongst those 10, that's a disgrace. I'm glad it's a happy disgrace for me. Brilliant. I'm buzzing that Eddie Howe's staying at Newcastle. But if he wasn't considered, surely he must have been, because he was amongst the front runners, he was amongst the list of candidates for so long. So he must have been. But if Shearer's right and his sources are true, then that's mental that Eddie Howe wasn't considered. I mean, like I said, I'm very, very pleased with Howe. I think Tuchel's a great appointment for England. Listen, in an ideal world, you would have an Englishman managing England. But the outstanding candidate is thankfully committed to Newcastle United, Eddie Howe. Everyone else isn't good enough. Your Potters and that, I'm not sure. Are they going to win you a World Cup? Not sure about that. Tuchel, on the other hand, I think definitely could. You know, Champions League winner, won in the Bundesliga, won in League 1, great CV, managed superstars, egos, Mbappé's in Paris. So he fits the bill perfectly for me. I don't care where his passport's from. I don't care that he's German. I wouldn't care if he was Jamaican, Brazilian, Canadian. If his CV was what Tuchel's is, get him in. I want to see a bloody trophy. We haven't seen one since '66. As a Newcastle fan, I haven't seen one either. So I wouldn't mind seeing one from one side or the other. You know, domestic or a bloody World Cup would be lovely. So yeah, I think Tuchel's a great appointment. Even better than that, it means Eddie Howe stays. And if Man U came knocking, I think that door would get ignored. I really do. I can't see Howe leaving for Man U, and it's laughable that Ashworth thinks he could get him. I think Eddie Howe will despise Ashworth now. He never seemed to really like talking about him that much in interviews, but from what's on the surface, nah. Eddie Howe's gone nowhere, and good luck to Tuchel at England. Can't wait for that World Cup now. May actually be exciting. We may actually win something. Let us know in the comments below what you think of today's video. I'm sure there'll be Man U fans in there rattled. So let me know if they actually think they can get Eddie Howe. Do any of you out there think Howe would leave for another job now that England's gone for at least 18 months? Say if another team came knocking, would Howe and Tyndall, they're a pair, remember, can't separate them, would leave Newcastle. Cheers for watching, everyone. Make sure you tune in to Omili, the app. The link is in the description to download it. Thursday, midday, we'll be doing a live show with Ryan, the Brighton fan. Looking forward to Saturday's match. Subscribe to the channel, give this one a like, and I'll see you on the next one.